Count me in on this.
Okay.
Welcome, everybody. I mean, today is such an exciting day because look who's here.
Very
It's
excited. Hello.
Gino. It's our original crew.
This is cool. I have been looking forword to this. I've been very excited.
We're
have
so
two.
excited to have you both back. And we welcome Junior Borges. How do I say this right? Do I say it right?
Borges.
Borges.
Like gorgeous.
That is fancy. That just sounded really fancy. You gotta almost feel like you had to throw an accent or something.
You
like
know,
that.
to roll my tongue. a little
That's
bit.
right. Just rolled up a little bit.
Junior, do you like being called chef?
No, you can call me Junior.
Okay.
I mean, it's
I think I
Absolutely not.
Well,
No,
because my friend Hope always calls him chef.
she does, and I feel like it fits in the work environment.
Yeah.
It's a respect thing, you know.
I
But I
see.
think I'm fine when people call me
Junior.
Junior. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm
good.
just used to it from
So,
Hope.
chef, I'm assuming.
Famous.
Yes.
Famous.
All right.
Famous chef.
So why is it that we just have drinks? There's no food here. Right now.
Exactly. I mean, there are some lanes over there.
I want
Pretzel.
to taste this famous food right now.
Tell us today, what restaurant are you at in Dallas?
So I opened a restaurant called Meridian. I'm originally from Brazil, so it's a modern Brazilian restaurant. By the time we opened, was kind of not the only, but the first real kind of modern Brazilian restaurant in the country.
Wow. In the country?
Yeah,
Wow.
we kind of looked that up.
How'd you guys settle here?
Well, I've been in Dallas for 9 years now, going on 9 years.
Were you in Brazil before that?
I was in New York before that.
Okay.
So I've been in the U.S. now for 21 years, and I moved to Texas to open Uchi here in Dallas.
Oh, that's your favorite.
I did not.
favorite.
You did Uchi?
What?
Yeah.
I was excited.
my
I didn't say anything
gosh.
because I wanted everyone to find out.
That
Yeah.
is,
What?
man, I remember when Uchi first opened up, and I mean, I had all my colleagues, my doctors and friends. That was the hottest spot. That was so hard to get into that place.
It was kind of like a wild thing. Yeah, it's I mean, I guess I can go back a little
Yes,
bit and get
we
to
wanna
that
know.
point. But
Yeah.
so moved to New York when I was 20, almost 21. I moved about 6 weeks after 9/11, and so it was a little crazy time, to
Yeah.
move into the city. Didn't speak any English, didn't have any money. My family, my sister and my mom were already there, and yeah, kind of ended up staying. Had no idea what I was gonna do. Started kind of doing odd jobs, whatever I could do to make money. Was a bathroom attendant at this restaurant, a kind of like restaurant club live music place called Sounds of Brazil. It's SOBs, which is actually a pretty popular. Yeah,
What a funny.
I know. It was actually a pretty popular place because it was interesting because I got to see so many amazing artists play there before they kind of got really big. Like John Legend played every week.
Wow.
For
Wow.
I think I
That's
saw
not
him.
small.
I think I saw. Well, the place was not big, but it was before like all these people. Every night was a different.
Singer.
Was a different style of music.
Oh, okay.
So
It was so smooth. You're like, there's a small artist.
Yeah.
But it was like, so like on Mondays were salsa nights, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was kind of like some R&B, whatever. Once a month was a Bhangra night, and then had a Haitian night and a Brazilian night, and then so on and so forth. But the R&B nights were always kind of, so John Legend played in a set every week. So
That's crazy.
at
Is
that
place
point,
still around?
I believe so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
cool.
and he was to go by his real name was John Stevens.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Either.
That's interesting.
So it's pretty funny. And then saw Erykah Badu play so many times, and Jill Scott,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
and
That's really
Kanye
big.
West, and De La Soul, and the Roots before the Roots were really
What?
big. So it was really like an awesome place
Mm-hmm.
to be, and for me being someone that didn't really speak English at that point, was very much like into music, and I think that kind of really helped me integrate
Mm-hmm.
into the culture. I kind of got together a lot with the security guards and the bouncers at work. They're all African American guys from Flatbush, Brooklyn, and
Nice.
so it's kind of like really like that kind of crowd. And but I always food had always been a big part of my family. My grandmother is the oldest of 24 kids.
What?
Dude,
Uh,
that's
24
Yeah.
children?
God, like,
I know.
God.
Is your
So,
grandpa Genghis Khan?
right? Seriously, that's
Wow.
like
yeah, so-
24.
24, yeah. So my
Wow.
great grandmother,
Poor great grandma. Poor
Yeah,
great-grandma.
when I was old enough to realize what was going on, there was only 14 left.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
Sad. Well,
20 out of the 24, 21 girls and 3 boys.
What?
Oh, 21 Marcellus.
Can you imagine?
so great.
Gosh.
That wouldn't give
Wow.
you stress at all.
So
Not at all.
yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
my grandmother was the oldest of all of them, so she pretty much was kind of like help raise a lot of them, and
Whoa.
they all had come from Bahia, which is state in Brazil, which is like the where the country was discovered, which is a huge African culture and a huge African population. And so she was always made sure that the cuisine was still, even though we all grew up in Rio, the cuisine that was still very much rooted and the traditions were rooted and all that. And so we grew up kind of eating a lot of that food. And so was always kind of like a big part of my family. But back then, 30 or so years ago in Brazil, being a chef wasn't a glamour thing, and especially as a people of color, you really had to kind of make a effort to either be a doctor or be a lawyer or be a businessman or be someone that have some kind of status. Growing up, my dad was a doctor, so I pretty much got that kind of a little taste of both worlds, because a lot of my family was still very poor, and growing up we were not, but but it kind of is still very much connected. The money ran out when with all my dad kind of not being so smart, and when the money kind of ran out, kind of a lot of this stuff started falling apart in our family, and then which found us kind of moving to New York. And so one day I was on the subway with my mom, and then my mom was like, there was an ad for a cooking school, and she was like, well, why don't you do that? You always eating, you always in the kitchen. So it's like, you might as well just go make,
With 21 family members, you gotta.
You gotta figure it out.
Afford that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
so
There was a motive there for
Yes.
your mom, to save some money, make you cook it all.
exactly. But yeah, so I didn't really had any money to go to cooking school. To start kind of just reading and looking at TV and shows and going to Barnes and Nobles and sitting in the cookbook section and just flipping through books and reading and try to understand what was said, and until I finally got a job, and then never really looked back, kind of started to work my way up, and it was very, very hard, but
I've always heard
Very
that
hard.
about chefs. So
That's
your
hard.
first, when you got out of cooking school, culinary school, right? What was your?
well,
Oh,
I didn't
you
really
go.
I didn't really go to cooking school because I didn't really had any money
Yeah.
to go to, and
So you taught yourself,
so
really?
so yeah, so I
how do
really,
you get to Uchi? I'm saying it just because I'm impressed
Well,
with that, knowing that.
yeah,
How do you go
so-
from nothing to Uchi?
yeah, I mean,
and
it's
then to
kind
where you're at
of
now.
it's kind of like that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of it's really putting your head down and work. I think it's something sometimes I look back of my time in New York and what I had to go through, and it's almost like, right, like you don't really have you don't really have a choice. So you have to kind of like, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? If people are mistreating you, whatever, if people are like, kind of if the situation is not ideal. Like for me, I always looked as like, I have to make money. I have to make this work. And then on top of everything, I had a kid very young.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so he's 18 now.
Wow.
And that kind of like, not that also really makes you man up, you know?
Yeah.
And then you kind of like, yeah, I don't, it doesn't matter. I have to make this work. So I really kind of try to find places that I could, work and put my head down. It's funny because there is this culture, right? Like within chefs of we party a lot, we drink a lot, and all that, which is all true, and is like, and it's all part of the business. But it's funny because kind of coming up, I was so locked in what I had to do and what I was afraid of, like either losing my job or anything like that. That like I really did not party that much. Like when I was like coming up as a young cook, like because I was so like focused and I needed to make sure that this worked, So I think that kind of really helped me, like, really be focused in my career and try to find what was next and try to kind of make myself better and try to kind of like work through it. Um, found some really great chefs and great people to work with and amazing places
In New York.
in New York. Work at a place in Brooklyn that kind of has been there since this day, and it doesn't.
What's the name?
It's a name called Diner. It is not a diner, but it's inside.
Very original.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
the diner.
It's inside this old diner cart. Is in Williamsburg, and when I worked there was 2004, and the first year that I worked there. And they were opening like one restaurant right next door, and then I kind of like helped do that, and then was part of diner. But it's a place that the place had no menu. It was only a burger on the menu, and then the servers would come and write the menu on this wax paper that were on the table, because the menu changed so frequently, and the produce and everything that we were getting was so amazing. It was so fresh and incredible that, like, I mean, everything was written every day.
Wow.
And when they turned 20 years in 2018, I believe, New York Times wrote as like, the restaurant that kind of changed the Brooklyn dining scene.
No way.
And because it had such like, important kind of like mission. And so I got the opportunity to work at like, some places like that, and then kind of kept, meeting people. Eventually, opened a restaurant in New York called Amali, which was this Mediterranean restaurant, very farm driven. So it was my real first like executive chef job. And at that point, kind of really was my opportunity to really showcase. But I always felt that, man, like that is more outside of the city. There's other places that have more to offer, and it's amazing that I made this far, but I still want more, And one day I was in the restaurant, then a phone call. I got a phone call, and they said like, "Hey, it's a phone call for you." And went to the phone. It was Central Market. And I had no idea. I had never been to Texas. Had no desire of coming. Had not even any.
It's a culture here. Central Market is.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
anything what it was about. Had only one friend, he in Dallas, and so Central Market calls, say, hey, we're doing this event called Passport Brazil. It's an event that, like, we transformed the store for 2 weeks, putting all this stuff about Brazil, and we have a cooking school, and we'd love for you to come and teach some classes. And I was like, well, I don't really like cook Brazilian food, like, because when I opened this restaurant, there were a few articles that came out, and they kind of said that, like, hey, I'm from Brazil.
Awesome.
So I think that's how they found out.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I cook at home, and they were like, well, yes, that's what we want. Like, we want for you because it's for the home cooks, So ended up coming, did this trip, and I signed up to do Houston, Austin, Fort Worth, Dallas. And it was the first time that I really got to experience, like, somebody paying for me to kind of, like,
Teach
and fly me out, and it was like,
that's cool.
It was like
that's
cars,
really cool.
It was like cars waiting for me, and like and all this like takes me to all these nice hotels. Like I stay at the mansion here in Dallas. I stay like they did it up, So, but my first stay was Houston. The day after my class, the day of my class when my class was over, I kind of told the guys like, "Oh, where should I go eat?" And they were like, "Oh, you should go to Uchi." And I was like, oh yeah, like I had heard of the restaurant because the restaurant had kind of got some awards the year before for the Austin location.
Yeah.
So went to the restaurant, sat at the sushi bar. I was by myself, ordered a few things. First dish came, was really good. Second dish came, I took a picture, and that was before Instagram really was that big, So I posted on Facebook, and a friend in New York kind of commented right away. He's like, hey, are you in Austin? And I was like, no, I'm in Houston. And he's like, 5 minutes later, the GM comes out, and he's like, are you Junior? And,
and
I was like,
in Houston
in
right
Houston,
now. Okay.
yeah. So basically, this friend in New York called Austin.
Oh my gosh.
Told Austin, he's like, hey, there's a chef from New York
sitting
in your restaurant in Houston. Describe who I was, what I look like, and then they call Houston, let the Houston team know, and then the guy comes out. Then, yes, I'm Junior. Chefs come out. 20-some courses later, I'm closing the restaurant. I'm closing the restaurant with the team. We're going out for drinks, kind of connect with the guys.
That's like legit.
No kidding.
Yeah. So
are you just, sorry to ask, are you just feeling like on cloud 9 right now?
Yeah.
Because you're recognizing something's going on, right?
Yeah. I'm like, man, this is amazing, right? Like, I'm like really like getting hooked up to here. It was like, this is great, but I had not even thinking that much further. And when I did the rest of my trip, went back to New York. A few months later, this guy comes, one of the chefs that I met comes to New York to do a dinner, and he was like, hey, we're actually opening a restaurant in Dallas. Would you be interested? I was like, maybe, like I've been in New York now for 12 some years, and
it's crazy.
Feel like I'm ready to experience something else. And I actually had a great time. I mean, of course I had a great time. I mean, I'm like, just
5-star treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So spent time with the guys, and they basically offered me a job. A few months go by. I came to Austin to actually formally meet everyone, and that kind of like sealed the deal. When the night that I got to Austin, I left New York, it was like in November. I left New York, was like 37 degrees. Got to Austin, it was like 70, 75, and I was like, this is amazing. Went to dinner, went to a bar after, and it was 4 of us. They got the first round, and I was like, cool, like I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'll get the second round. I go up to the bar, and I told the guys, like, hey, I need 4 beers. And the guy's like, oh, it's $10. And I'm like, no. I need 4 beers. And the guy's like, yeah, it's $10. I'm like,
completely different than New York.
Like,
no shit, man.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, I mean,
4. You're supposed to
I was like, dude, like I need 4 beers, And the guy's like, dude, it's $2.50. That's $10. And then
I need 32 beers.
I was like, holy shit, this place is amazing. I'm like, I want to move here, you know. So
What place was that? Do you know the?
it's a bar. It's a bar in
Austin.
the east side called Liberty.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. New York shit is so insane.
I know. So
Price-wise. I forgot about that.
so fast forward 2 more months. You know, me and my girlfriend moved here, and yeah, we moved to Austin and staying in Austin for almost a year. I did Austin, did Houston, then moved to Dallas, and then opened the Dallas location, and then stayed in here. Kind of when we opened, yeah, Uchi was wild. Was kind
So
of like
it's one of my favorite sushi places.
It always talks about it.
Always.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was always something when I'd go there. I could never follow the menu because
No.
it just was not common.
No.
So I'd always tell them
The
just
chef.
whatever, let the
Just
chef
do
do.
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
just because
That's what.
What
it
is
was,
that called? The
omakase.
yeah, that
Yeah.
I might do that.
what is
I'll do
that?
that.
That the chef deal?
Yeah.
That's the chef, yeah.
Yeah.
Just do whatever you want.
But
to
also a
make.
big thing that like they did like the server omakase. You know, when you ask the server, it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh.
shit.
That's
When you
okay.
ask the-
It's all those
Woo!
beers.
What the
It's all those beers.
All those
Let's go.
beers. When you ask the server for like, you know, to just do it for you, you know,
Yeah.
and then they just kind of make the menu for you. But
Let me.
Oh, yeah.
I was always questioning this. So, why were the portions so small? I remember that was the thing. I was always like,
because they
"Man,
want to make a lot of money.
They did
you
a
know?
great job. Fortunately, every time I went there, it was on my company's. I had a corporate MX, so
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, let's keep going, keep going. It's a good look, Gino.
Gino's
Sounds
cute.
like a
You're
good
doing
look.
like
Can we adjust the?
move your butt.
Let's adjust
a little bit
the
more.
camera, Spider.
Yeah.
Let's get some. Get
No, I
the
mean,
la-
the idea is like, you know, the portion is small because so
Thank
you
you.
can try a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
right? And in
It was
some
awesome.
ways. But yeah, I mean, it's a great spot.
You want to
And
refresh your drink?
sure.
Chino's gonna do
Thanks, man.
bartender.
You know, you need some ice.
But yeah, I mean, it's after Uchi. I mean, it was kind of a interesting opening, you know, like with
How long were you
everything.
at Uchi for?
I was at Uchi for a total of almost 2 years.
Was it 14 that opened? When you
15.
15.
And then so I left at the end of the 2015.
Okay.
And then you did Meridian or no?
Then after that, I kind of spent some time, a couple months at a restaurant called FT33,
Okay.
which was a restaurant in the Design District, which is the same location where Tango Room is now. And I knew the chef for a while. Like, I mean, we were all kind of like, you know, friends. So he asked me to come and you know, help him out. So, but I knew that, like, I mean, I needed to find something bigger.
Yeah.
End up going to the Jewel Hotel.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah.
So I was in charge of the whole Jewel Hotel.
Okay.
Open 4510, just the
Wow.
retail store. Opened the restaurant on the top floor called Mirador.
Oh wow.
And was in charge of all the operations for the hotel, all the restaurants.
Now is
And,
that a bigger job than just a normal restaurant when you're in a hotel?
It is kind of like in that essence. It is just because you're dealing with like room service and banquets and,
oh my
and all the, you know, in my case, I mean, the hotel. Thank you. In my case,
Gina's the bartender.
in my case, the hotel is very F&B driven. So we had, you know, at the time we had Americano and CBD and Midnight Rambler, you know, Mirador,
God, that's so
and
crazy.
the weekend coffee, like, you know,
My
all this kind of
gosh.
stuff. So yeah, we had a lot. But
That was all you guys?
so that was all under me. So I was
Oh,
in charge
wow.
of
My
all the
goodness.
culinary, yeah,
Dude,
for the hotel.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
so
saying. Is
like,
that
yeah.
not overwhelming?
Of course, that's
It
gotta
is.
be
It's a lot,
overwhelming. Hell
yeah. But for me, I always wanted to, like, you know, my idea is always like, hey, I need to prepare myself for what I want to do, right? Like, I wanted to one day, like, own my own restaurant and do my own thing and have my own, like, you know, like growth and all that. So I think that those are like, good steps, and I feel those are sometimes the process that some chefs these days don't take. A lot of people take the fast route, and the route is different for everyone. Like everybody, I think I had to go through this, especially coming up. I mean, I'm 41 today, and
Today?
today.
Oh, like today is your birthday?
No, sorry.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, really?
No, my bad.
Where are the cupcakes?
Yeah,
Let's go.
no. I'm 41, and I think I've seen, like, when I was like chefs are like 30 years old, right? Like having their own place and doing their own thing, and
okay.
you're like, cool, like, shit, like I wanted to be that. I want to be doing those things, right? Like, but you start to realize and start to kind of be more confident about myself, right, as a chef, and like, hey, everybody has their own path. I mean, 20 years ago, I couldn't even speak English, so it's like, I have to, like, remind myself of those things, and everybody has their own path to go through, and but I think that's always had been my goal. So before I went to the Jewel, there was a guy in town that basically was like, hey, I want to partner with you. Let's open a restaurant together, blah, blah, blah. And then we kind of like, decided to do the hotel. But he always kind of kept coming back and being like, hey, let's do it. Let's do our tour. Let's do our thing, And so I finally, after about 2 years being in the hotel, I kind of went into that partnership. But it did not work out. So we stayed together for 6 months, and we actually started working into this space that was supposed to be our restaurant together. But after 6 months, was just not a good partnership, right? So we both kind of walk away, and he went ahead and opened that restaurant and did something else with it, but then that was when I found myself like a shit, like, now what am I gonna do? I just left the hotel. I went into this deal. I kind of like, and I did some consulting here and there, trying to kind of think what I was gonna do. And then the Village kind of came and started asking me to consult, into this major project that they were working on, which is their whole development.
Yeah, which is crazy. Because did you ever go to the Village pool, like back in the
No,
day?
I did not. Oh, yes, I did.
Yes,
Sorry,
you did,
Yeah, I did.
for
Yeah, I did.
sure.
I
Probably
know.
don't even
Sorry.
remember.
No,
It's been that long.
You had such a great time.
lot of-
Don't remember,
But
Sometimes you try to
now,
block stuff
this
out.
is like so long ago, but now
I
that
still
area
aged
is
in that one thing.
totally different. It's
No
like its
way.
own little city in the Village
I haven't been
area.
there in so long.
Well,
Good
when
Lord.
I went there, I didn't even recognize where I was
Mhm.
because it doesn't look the same at all. It's super neat. Like the
Are
whole
the tennis courts still there?
No,
They're
they're
not
supposed to be bringing them back
Oh,
at the
wow.
next
It
next
looks
They need to bring
So
development.
pickleball
different.
courts is what they're going to switch it to.
He's
Pickleball
playing
courts.
them.
There's
Yeah.
some
We
hard
were talking about
cases
that.
being made, but yeah. So the whole thing was funny because when I was moving here, we actually look at apartment, like at the Village. We ended up not living there, but yeah, I mean, it was this great development of, hey, we have all this, have a boutique hotel, have all these concepts, and then they were like, but there is this one space, and that is designed to be this chef-driven restaurant, and this destination restaurant, and we want you to kind of put a concept there, but also oversee the rest of the stuff. So that's what kind of like what Meridian kind of came to
Dude, that's
be, and
cool.
Yeah.
and then was like figuring out, okay, now it's like I got to do my own concept. So what is that going to be, So it became this modern Brazilian restaurant, which has been pretty awesome and pretty unique. It is not at all what most people think of Brazilian cuisine, right? Because most Americans think of the steakhouse and
Fogo de
all
chão.
that.
Fogo de
That's
chão.
literally
Yeah,
I was
I
going to
was
bring that
gonna
up.
ask
Yeah.
that
So,
too.
so what is traditional Brazilian food, or what's your concept?
So the concept is really like, I mean, Brazil has a huge cultural diversity, right? And we We are the largest Japanese population outside of Japan.
Really?
We're the
Would
largest.
not have
No.
ever kind of even
Yes.
thought to put that in the
No.
conversation at all.
We're the fourth largest like Italian population. We're the
Really?
we're the largest African population outside of Africa. We're the so the country, growing up, I mean, obviously from where my family's from, I grew up eating a lot of this African like tradition kind of like based dishes, but also pasta is your everyday like thing, it's part of your culture, it's part of the culture, right?
I think that's a
And-
great thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like
And-
pasta.
yeah,
The
so-
Italians think so for
Yes.
sure.
So it's like pasta is a thing, like, and you're exposed to so many things, right? Like Lebanese cuisine.
Man,
and-
that's crazy. I've been
So-
too Americanized because never would have put Japanese or pasta. I just would have
Yeah.
put fogo de chao. That's it.
Yeah, me
Exactly, yeah.
too.
so the
Brazilian.
restaurant kind of like takes a little bit of this take on like a lot of my path as a chef, working at a lot of ingredient driven and fine dining places, but then having working in Italian kitchens and French kitchens and Japanese kitchens with Uchi, and kind of like bringing all that, and then bringing my
I want to go.
yeah
Oh my God.
I literally
Yeah.
say, when can we do the next podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So
Wow.
when do we get an invitation to?
It's an open
I'm gonna push
invitation.
this, guys. I'll push
I've
it. I'll be the
been.
person.
I just wanted to say I've been
It's,
there.
it's an open invitation.
You're not so Sarah now. Right now, we want to get him to hook us up. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that's crazy cool.
So yeah, so that's kind of like what the restaurant kind of came to be, and we opened last year. We're named best restaurant of the year on D Magazine. A couple
What?
publications like Eater and D Magazine, and we're on the top list of Texas Monthly. We're on there's an organization called Rob Report, that rate us top 5 in the country on their best of the best.
Wow. You know, Dallas is one of the hardest markets to make it. And
know,
that's
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, congratulations.
Thank you.
No shit.
So
That's a really big deal.
So
That is
what's, like,
huge.
The hardest thing that happened on your journey, what would that have been?
man, there's so many things. I feel like there were a lot of moments, there were a lot of kind of lows, there were a lot of highs, but there are a lot of kind of moments that are harder. It depends kind
Yeah.
of I think I lost, for a while, I was an illegal immigrant, so I couldn't go back to Brazil.
Yeah.
And I'm not anymore. I'm a citizen now.
Congratulations on that,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I
Make sure to let you guys know I
Exactly.
am official.
I
Nobody come
voted.
in.
I voted. But that was hard, like losing my grandparents while I was here, and
Oh,
not
and
be
you
able to
couldn't
sort of
go.
like go and what they meant, to me and to my family. I think that was hard going through. That kind of had me
Yeah.
going through a spiral at times, and really not necessarily figuring out what am I doing, like kind of thing. And I think having, even though it's a blessing, like having, but obviously having a kid, like that young, when you don't have that much of a support system, like here, and it is hard.
And I think with a chef, because my dad was a chef, besides being in the mafia, he cooked. But
Dude, that's
I think that you give up so much of I think the restaurant industry, the club industry, chefs, you are nights and weekends and holidays. You give up a
Yes.
lot to do what you do, what you
do,
love.
and you realize, like, you give up, especially in this case, right? Like, in the restaurant, it's kind of hard because you give up a lot, but you don't really make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that is, it's hard because, like, my dad, I think growing up, my dad was a workaholic, and he worked a lot, but he made a lot of money. So in
Yeah.
a way,
Makes
like,
sense.
like we felt that, like, he probably, right, felt as like, I'm providing for my family, right? I'm paying for good schools, I'm paying for cars, I'm paying for this, I'm paying for trips, I'm paying for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, it was hard because I felt like I know I have to work hard. I know that I cannot, like, I have to show up because otherwise I'm going to be passed on. Right?
Yeah.
Like I'm
Mhm.
going to be like, moved over and I'm going to lose my opportunity to get a raise or to move up or
Mhm.
whatever. But that takes a sacrifice on the other end. And so it was hard. I think like, that whole
Yeah.
period was very
But
hard.
now you own a restaurant and
I don't own it.
But
I don't.
You're running the
I'm
show,
working
though.
on it.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's a really great thing when you can, and I think everyone can this example could be useful to anyone. When we're going through shit, it's one of the craziest things because you're going through it not having a clue what's going on. And to what you just said, there's times you feel like you're just spiraling out of control, like it's just you're stuck in pause.
Mm.
Yeah.
And what's an amazing, beautiful thing is when you can look back and connect dots of how it all worked to be exactly where you're
Yeah.
at.
That
It's
is cool.
Right? It's a
Yeah.
great thing. So
For
here's my
sure.
question for you.
Yeah.
So throughout this time, I can imagine people will count you out here and there. Have you had those moments, those moments where you're at where you're at now and have those middle finger moments to people who counted you out? Don't lie. Don't lie.
If I have those moments,
Keep them to yourself, but I'm just saying.
no, I do. I do. I think it's kind of. But I feel even to this day, like I think it's a process that I have that like I think because where I came from and because what I had to go through, like I still and I feel like I still have so much to prove.
Sure.
And I think that is even though for the whatever success I have and recognition that I have now, I still think it's not enough.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it's sometimes it's a blessing and a curse,
Mhm.
because I feel like for me, I think the part of why sometimes I look back and why I got to where I am is because I was never satisfied. Right. I always thought to like, I can be better,
That's
right? I can do better. Like the restaurant can be better, the food can be better.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like and you always thinking like that but it's hard, right? Like it's hard because like that also consumes you too.
I have two
So-
questions. Were you ever gonna have? Did you ever want to give up? Have you had those thoughts, or was this is your path? You love this.
I love this. I don't think I never really had the thought of like giving up. I think I had a lot of questions of like what am I doing is
Yeah.
right, like and am I in the right path to get to where I wanted to be, and I think those are things even today. I think as I kind of get older, as I kind of like build on the things that like I feel it's important, right, with family, with kids, with like everything, and start to and with my passion, right, like with a passion for the things that I want for my career still. Like I still, right, I don't, like you mentioned, I don't own Meridian, and I think it's fine, but I think even to this point, like, okay, so what is now, right? Like what is the next step for my
Mhm.
career, right? What is the
Mhm.
next step for my life, and how do I get what I need professionally, but also what I need personally, what I need for my family, what I need, like, and creating that balance is very hard as a chef is very hard because it's kind of something you have to continue to build and build and build and
Yeah.
build, and it never ends.
Are you one of those chefs that is crazy in the kitchen?
I used to be. I never really was. I've witnessed it has happened to me, right? And
Meaning
Like
they
Gordon
throw-
Ramsay.
No,
A
they
little bit,
they
like, yeah.
throw the pots and pans.
Oh my god, my
screaming,
dad
yelling.
was like that. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. We would stand in the restaurant and we would be like, "Whoa," because he would throw pots and
I'm not
pans.
surprised hearing that
is
about
that-
your dad. Mr.
is that my
Hoffman, at
dad?
all. Expect to throw
Do what?
knives and-
you were like, "Is that my dad?"
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'd never seen him like that in normal life, but in the restaurant, My mom says that people left one time because they could hear him.
Customers left. That it was so out of
Some
control.
perspective.
Yeah.
If your dad did that in public, imagine the shit he did in private.
I
No,
know.
they didn't. That's the crazy part. That's the
Just
crazy
in the
part.
kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen. It was insane.
Well, I
I
think-
had never seen it before either.
No shit.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty like low
You seem
key.
chill.
Yeah, I'm pretty chill. I'm pretty low key, but I think that early on, and it's funny because like as a young chef, you want to prove yourself, right?
Mhm.
And you are not really certain of who you are yet,
Right.
and all you do is a byproduct of what you came from,
Mm.
you know. And
Shit, that's good.
I think
True, yeah.
and I think it's why, like, I mean, and it's funny because when you look back of like the abuse, right, like of chefs and all that, it's very much related, right, with the abuse of if you were abused
Is
at
that a
home,
thing?
right? Like it's
Wait,
the same
is
thing.
that a thing? Abuse of chefs?
I mean, of like the
Yeah.
chefs being
Abusive.
abusive,
The
Yes.
abusive chefs.
abusive, yeah.
Yes.
I think that
Yeah.
goes a lot in life. I mean, you're right. How people are raised. I mean,
Exactly.
shit, that impacts everything. How they
Yeah.
how they handle conflict is how they saw it when they were younger. And so, yeah,
But some people are like, well, this was done to me, I'm not gonna do it to them, right?
Yeah,
But
it
then-
depends.
But then it depends because like some people are like this is done to me and that's all I know, and then even though maybe in your subconscious you think that like that's not what I want to do, but it's what you end up doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think as a young chef, I was a little like I had my moments of, but I was never like super crazy, but I had my moments of like I mean there was one time that I cook like kind of threw something I was prepping right by the garbage can, and I was doing my thing, and this cook comes and throws like all this basil in the garbage, and he picked like I mean he was a lot of basil still to pick, and I was like I grabbed the garbage and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? and I was like I grab a plate, and the plate I purposely grabbed a plate that had like sometimes there are plates that have like a crack right in the middle that is is gonna break. So I grabbed that plate. And I went to his face and I was like, I broke the plate in my hands and I was like, this is what I want to do to your
that's
face.
awesome. That's so
I mean, that's pretty
I was like,
crazy.
but I was like, I don't do that anymore. But,
I think there's a lot of heated energy.
Yes.
Everything is so fast. But
yeah.
I want to know, what's your favorite thing to cook?
Favorite thing to cook.
If you could pick.
I like cooking meat, and I like cooking pasta.
Do you so from Hope? Did you cook for Hope? Is that what it is? Like, do you private chef?
Well,
chef,
my
or-
No,
friend
we-
Hope, they do a YouTube every now and again.
Cooking show.
Yeah,
Oh,
we-
I've seen that. I think I've seen it on your
Yeah.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something.
Hope has come to the restaurant. We met in the restaurant. She has come a few times, and then she kind of like, hey, like we should do some videos of like come and we host a dinner party and we just like cook
Oh,
stuff.
that's really
and
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
we did
Hope.
a few of those, and we kind of put a stop because like this time of the year for me is kind of like
Crazy.
Crazy.
Mhm.
yeah. So
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's.
I mean all that, and then it's like usually October, November is like crazy months with like events.
Yeah.
September, October, November is pretty crazy. There's so many events, but all this cherry events and galas and
That's
all
right.
that. So we do a lot of those. I mean, chefs do a lot of those. So we end up kind of like taking a little break.
Does it get hard when, like you said, you don't own the restaurant, but in essence, like you do all the work in the back? Like that has to be really difficult because
Yeah.
obviously you have the partners that have the money that make it look beautiful.
Yeah, it's
But-
a balance,
Mhm.
Like I think like I mean I've been very fortunate that like I mean the group it's an amazing group. They have been
What's the group called?
the village, the whole
Oh, okay.
the group that owns the village,
Yeah.
and they're great people. They have been super supportive, right, and had given me this platform. And I love like what we do. So is it different,
Mhm.
is a different kind of thing. I know there's a lot of chefs. A lot of chefs kind of go through they go through like times where like yeah, I go in, I'm the executive chef of this place and my ownership it sucks, or the
Yeah.
owners wanted me to do this and do this and do this, and it's like and is
It's difficult.
right, it becomes difficult. So it's not really kind of the relationship that I have. I think it's more what I say is more of like for me,
For you personally.
right? Like as a chef and my career and thinking of my future, like
Mhm.
it's like it's kind of like okay, how is and you never really know, right? I mean, I feel like I was moving here, I was like, oh yeah, like in 5 years I will open my own restaurant. I've been here for 9 years, So I think you never really know, and I
Yeah.
think like there was one thing that I always learn is you do have to work hard and right seek your opportunities and seize them if you can. But I think it's really about like not forcing. I think when things are gonna happen, they're gonna happen.
For
So
sure.
so I feel that is the way to do.
What's your favorite part of the Meridian restaurant? Like, let's plug that place.
Yeah, I haven't been there before,
No.
so I'd be curious to check it out.
The favorite part,
Like, what makes it so special? I mean, besides the food and you being the chef, but
I think the staff.
the staff.
Yeah, I have an amazing team. I have an amazing staff. I have an amazing chef. His name is Justin Mosley. He's been working with me for 6 years now.
Oh wow.
He's like a brother to me and my little brother, and he's he's been with me from the very beginning. Like he's been as I was started working on this project, and really has kind of taken like I mean he jokes with me at times that like you should give me a honorary Brazilian citizenship.
Oh, that's nice.
But I think the staff really what makes the restaurant. I think that is sometimes I think what a lot of people don't understand. I think it's a team, like I think I'm very much aware of like yeah, I can sit here and take all the praise and all this, but I'm very much aware that I'm only here because of my team, and
How long is it booked out?
it depends. It depends of how. I mean, if you want to come on a Friday at 7 p.m., probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow,
but
that's
if-
awesome.
If we know somebody who
But if
works
you
there,
know somebody, but if you know somebody that works there, if you know somebody that works there, there is always a way.
just so you guys know, I don't have my son next
Yeah.
week. So
Can we
I
just
mean,
slide in?
Ooh,
can we
next
slide? Can we slide in the next?
weekend.
Can you get us in next Friday or Saturday?
Well, I
Can we
like
go?
to say my job is making dreams come true.
All right, next Friday
Next
night.
Friday.
Geno's clear your
We're
plans.
like, Junior.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. I'm letting you guys know I'm clearing the plans next Friday.
Hit the glass.
I know Junior. They're like, you guys need to leave.
I'm sorry, who? He says he doesn't know you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I know.
Let's leave.
So I want to know what you think about Fogo de Chao in Texas State, Brazil. Is that real?
So to be honest,
Oh,
I've
let's
never
hear it
been
now.
to any of them.
No.
Oh,
Again, that's the
No.
only thing I think about
However-
Brazilian food is the meat,
however-
all that food.
I've been to plenty of churrascarias, and they're great. I mean,
Okay.
we love them in Brazil too.
Yeah.
Like like I mean, people go and it's a part of the culture too. It's just kind of hard that it's the only thing that people know.
Yeah.
So I think they are good. I think they're one representation of it. I mean, but it's just like
And you guys do at Meridian, Mom, I think. Is this you guys who have the big octopus?
yes, we have a whole octopus.
You
yeah.
lying.
That's her favorite. I knew it.
Really?
How do you cook your octopus?
Well, we kind of marinated. We sous vide it first, and then we finish. We cook all the proteins over a wood fire.
Next Friday.
Next Friday for
Next
sure.
Friday.
Yeah.
Junior, can you?
Next Friday.
I'm not kidding with you. Like
Next Friday. No, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because I gotta tell you, this is breaking news here.
What?
He's leaving on Thursday.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. We're actually going through I'm calling as a Meridian evolution on the menu starting next month. So we're actually changing. We're kind of creating a little bit more of an experience, so the octopus might take a break for a little bit.
But that's
better
not
hurry
that's not
up.
till next month, though, right?
Not until next
But
month. So
Friday?
next week
So
is
Friday.
fine.
All right. So before we leave her today, before you leave, we're gonna do it. Let's get a
my
group
God,
together
yes.
and let's do it next Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're doing it.
Oh my
Do it.
gosh.
I'll be there next Friday.
Oh, please.
We're in.
Junior, we're gonna bug
Oh my
you.
gosh.
That's right.
Okay, Junior, what else do you want to tell us? Because we're coming to an end and we want to do some segments with you real quick for fun.
Okay.
So tell us what else you want to tell us. What else you want to
anything.
say?
Oh, what
What
else?
else is important to you that you want
That
to
we
share
missed.
that we missed asking you?
I mean, that's kind of about it. I think like a big thing. I don't know. I love Dallas. I think like I wanted to really, build something here. That is, we're really invested into the community. I'm a board director of 2 foundations.
What are they?
One is Texas Food and Wine Alliance, which provides grants for small businesses and
Wow.
culinary education, and one is the 24-hour Club, which is a group that's been in Dallas for 50 plus years, which provides housing for basically is a transitional home for homeless and drug addicts.
Wow.
And
amazing.
that is an amazing kind of success rate,
Yeah.
and it's great. I think really giving to the community that you are part of, I think is really important. And yeah, I'm a part of this community, and I love it, and I
That's
wanted
amazing.
to kind of really continue to build it and build the restaurant scene here. I think there's a lot of growth and potential to do. We hopefully will have our Michelin guide here some point.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
What's that? What's the Michelin guide?
Michelin guide is technically a travel guide. It started in France in almost 100 years ago.
Oh, wow,
So,
okay.
but is when you hear of like, oh, this is a Michelin star restaurant.
Yeah, that's a
People
good thing.
travel
Yeah.
all over the world to go
So-
to all the Michelin star
But,
Dude, that's
restaurants.
really cool. I didn't know that.
But yeah, but we don't have any because we don't have a guide
Yeah.
for Texas. So I kind of try to push a little as much of lobbying it that I could in our travel commerce here in Dallas to get the ball rolling, and they have, and now it's with the state and all the other cities to kind of come together and Michelin, but I feel hopeful to kind of like hopefully we'll have a travel guide for Texas soon. So
That's
You know,
cool.
I'll say this. I mean, you may do it so often, but you need to take the time to reflect from where you started to where you're at today,
Yes.
because that's not a small feat at all.
Mhm.
Like you're
Yeah.
talking about the Michelin, and I mean, like you're done a lot of really badass
true.
stuff, man.
Yeah.
That is
Thanks, man.
so
It's
true.
gonna. I mean,
you.
I think the best thing is this getting sent to dinner next Friday. But
just let me know what time. How many people?
Oh, that's so
we will.
funny.
We will not forget this. I promise you. We will not.
Bernie's like, I'm hungry.
That's right. That's right.
and I wanna
That
go.
is amazing.
Gabriella and Marcella are gonna bring dates for Gino and I. It's gonna be awesome.
I love it. Yes.
That is
Yeah,
hilarious.
We could do that.
No, it's gonna be
Yeah.
awesome. I'm excited.
No,
Awesome.
that
No,
I
I'm
mean,
excited. I'm excited to have you also.
congratulations for
Yeah.
everything
Yes.
for you. I mean,
Yeah, that's awesome.
amazing.
It is
Thank you.
amazing.
I'm excited.
so-
about
I've gotten to eaten. I've gotten to eaten. I
Wow.
can't talk.
Stop
I've
it right
gotten
now.
to eat
it. Pull the drink
Um,
away.
at the dinner party at Hope's house
Oh,
and
yeah,
at Meridian.
you was like
So,
double lucky.
I
That
just
sounds
wanted to
awesome.
throw that out there that you guys are missing out.
Thanks for
I'm-
not inviting
Thanks.
us ever, but all right. All right. I feel so welcome right now.
Cheers, Bernie.
Yes.
All right, I want to do our gossip segment.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. It's time for Tupac to break down that juicy, juicy gossip. All that tea for you to sip on. That's all I got.
Do you have any gossip, any Dallas gossip that you can think of? Anything crazy in the restaurant that happens?
things crazy always happens in restaurants.
That's what I thought.
Exactly.
But it's hard because there's not really like a gossip. I feel like it's gossip sometimes within like the community, the chef community. But is I even try to kind of stay away from it.
Is the chef community small?
It is super small.
Super small.
And it is actually, it's funny because it's so small even when you think like in a national level. Like I think
So
that is
not
like,
just
yeah, I mean for sure here,
Yeah.
right? But it's always like, I mean it's groups, right? I feel like if you're this kind of chef here, if you're more of this fine dining chef, you're gonna relate yourself with those kind of people, so you're gonna end up knowing everybody else that is on that group. So it's actually not that big. But yeah, so you always know, you know what I mean? I feel like one of the biggest kind of things that we have in the I feel like as a proud thing to the restaurants is that Thomas Keller comes to the restaurant every time that he's in Dallas since we opened.
Who's that?
So Thomas Keller is one of the most important American chefs in the world.
Oh.
What?
You know, he
I'm like,
is.
should I know that?
Yeah,
Wow.
you probably should, but he is the godfather of I think of American cuisine.
Nice.
Wow.
One of the
Oh,
most
yes, that
important.
Thomas Keller.
I know.
Oh, yeah, we were just texting. Tom and I were.
Yes.
I call him Tom. If you'd have said Tommy, I'd have known that.
Yeah. And he's the chef owner of French Laundry.
Oh, okay, I know what that
And
is.
per se, he's the only American chef that has 2-3 Michelin star.
What?
Wow.
What
Restaurants, yeah.
restaurant does he have?
French Laundry.
French
and-
Laundry.
Where's that
Yeah,
at? Here in Dallas?
No, French Laundry is in Yountville, in Napa. And then
I still haven't been in Napa.
And then the other
I
one
haven't
is
either.
You have?
really.
It's amazing.
You haven't?
Oh, you
either?
have.
I have
Gino, have
been
you
to
been?
Napa.
Yes,
Yes.
I don't even know where that is.
It's in California. it's in Minnesota. It's
my
awesome.
God.
It's in Minnesota.
I'll see you up there.
That's right.
Bring my
Hey,
jacket.
Do you know Chef Rodman Shields? So
Yes.
years ago, yeah. So
He
I
actually texted me last night.
dude, he's a buddy of mine. I used to do his hair years ago. Yeah, you know Rodman,
Oh my
right?
gosh. I don't know him.
So he
That's
used to
funny.
be one of the executive chefs at Nick and Sam's.
Yes.
Then I think he's
Oh.
at, Neighborhood Services and I think he's
Oh,
at a
yeah,
few
Robin
places.
Shields.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Roddy. You know Roddy.
Roddy,
yeah.
It's like Tommy and
And-
Roddy.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
culinary director for the milkshake concept.
Yes, that's right. I think there's one
Oh,
Finch
Milkshake.
Grill and
Finch.
Bar.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've known him forever. He's a great guy. But
Yeah.
same thing. I've gotten a chance just to follow his career. I've seen it's been constantly doing this, but
Yeah.
it hasn't always been like this. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
he's
it's
a
always
great guy.
has its
ebb and
this, you know?
flows,
Yes.
ebb and flows.
Yeah.
So,
So
hey,
I
just,
found
you
the
know,
octopus.
let me see.
Well,
So let's do the question of the day.
all right, let's question the
What-
question.
Question of
I don't
the
have
day.
any gossip necessarily, but yeah.
The two posh girls ask the question of the day.
Oh god.
Oh God.
Oh
I
my
know.
God!
Looks
Sorry, I was
so
looking at the
good. We were
octopus.
looking at your restaurant.
Yes.
Okay,
I like it.
go ahead.
This is for you, and this is not coming from me.
Perfect.
We all answer it, but you go first.
Would you marry someone who is bisexual?
Probably not.
I'm an absolute no. That's not even a question.
I know Bernie's answer.
Fuck no, I would never marry someone. Like, let me tell you something. I have had those experiences, and it can be
Never
problematic.
goes well.
It can never go well, right?
No.
And because I've had a number of those experiences, and they're great for the experience, but the problem is that there's always going to be some sort of jealousy within it. Because I mean, I've had the experience of girl on girl with me, never the other way around. But
Thank
it, yeah,
God.
it's like, yeah. But to
Are
each
you
their own.
sure?
To each their own. Like,
Burning.
I'm completely comfortable with my sexuality. It wouldn't bug me if it was about that, but I'm not. But I have seen it happen to where it has happened 100% of times that I've experienced those experiences. Somebody gets jealous, and it's usually not me.
Would you consider it
course not.
cheating if your girlfriend kissed another girl?
Fuck yeah, of course it would be. It's cheating is cheating.
I just was curious.
Thank you.
Cheating
Yeah.
is cheating.
What everybody thought about that.
Yeah, I'm not that person. There's no universe. There's no parallel universe where your person hooking up with someone else is okay. Not at least for me, it's not.
Yeah,
Because there's no way that could be a
'cause
healthy
I feel
relationship.
Like some guys are like, well, that's hot, so
yeah,
whatever.
some guys who have not, dude, I have seen buddies of mine who've done that, and their girlfriend that they decided to do it with that third partner ended up leaving them for the girl.
I have
Every
heard that.
time.
Like, that's you're asking
Yeah.
for shit.
Every time.
I have a friend that happened
Yeah,
to.
it's sexy until they're
Yeah.
they're leaving you to go bang the girl,
Yeah, that's true.
right? And then
It
it's
never
like,
works out well.
You got the guy
Yep.
crying.
My
Not
answer
sexy.
is an absolute no.
Absolutely not.
No.
Gino?
All right.
Take a guess.
Okay, answer.
No.
Mom wants to know definitively.
Yeah.
I feel like I've already been in that situation.
I remember you all.
We'll just leave it.
All right. On that note, thank you so much for listening.
This is awesome.
Thank you for coming on the
Thank
show.
you.
We
We
appreciate
will
you
be
for
your
having
texting
time.
you about
Thank you,
Friday.
Junior.
We will be texting you Friday.
Please do.
And if
Thank
you guys are hungry, you gotta go check it out.
Yes,
go eat
Meridian
there.
Chef Junior.
Meridian.
So is that
Meridian.
octopus from there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that looked
Thank you,
awesome.
everyone,
Always
for
food.
listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.